Hello, Media Studies. It is April 30th. We are doing the chapter on impressions management today. That's going to be chapter 45. So when we left off before you took your quiz yesterday, we were on chapter 44 and we were talking about social interactionism. So what we're getting into is how do we interact with our society? How do we interact with individuals within our society? How do those media texts influence those interactions? So while you guys are working on your projects where you are studying the audiences of your media text, we're going to continue talking about these chapters and how these chapters apply to that understanding. Um, so key terms on the left, discussion questions on the right, and let's jump into impressions management. So impressions management is exactly what the word sounds like. It's how we manage the impressions we make. So you've heard the phrase first impressions are lasting ones. Um, you may have heard people say that they establish their first impression of a person within like the first 15 seconds of meeting them, whatever the case may be. But that's what we're going to be talking about today. And so impressions are those outward signs that we give out to people we expect them to decode. Um, whether it be this is how I look, this is how I talk, this is how I hold my body, this is my posture, these are my body language, um, movements, these are the clothes that I wear, whatever the case may be, any kind of outward sign or signal that we give to people. And from those outward signs, people decode them and make an impression. Like they decide on what they think about us. And if we are successful in our impression management, what that means is that we have created this ideal self and we have been able to portray that ideal self to our audience, to the other people that we are interacting with. And when we hit that level of achievement, when we have that level of success in our impression management, um, we become very stable. We rely on that view that others have of us. We rely on that view that we have of ourselves because we like it. We like that best version of ourselves. And we therefore try to mimic it. We try to keep up that particular appearance. And so that's what successful impression management is going to look like. Um, and impressions management, whether or not you think it's um, that methodical as being that well thought out, like this is who I'm presenting to the world, this is what I want society to see. Think about the times when you were told as a child, you got to look nice, we've got company coming over, you've got to clean your room, we've got company coming over, we're going out into the store, you better behave, kind of thing. These are those ingrained ideas that we've had since we were children about who we are and the impressions that we leave on other people. So impressions management, it's a part of our daily lives. Um, and some of those rules may have relaxed a little bit in society, but the idea is that they're still there in certain situations. Now, when I say that those impression management rules have kind of relaxed and maybe they've changed in this modern world that we live in, I want you to think about online interactions and social media. Um, Now, if you're live on social media, then the impressions management is probably still pretty much there the way it would be in face to face and day to day interactions. But think about when you're not live, you know, how often are we going through the photo album and finding that picture from last week or the Throwback Thursday picture? That Throwback Thursday picture is not who you are right then, right there. So your impressions management looks a little bit different because now I can be one thing in the here and now, but I'm posting a picture of something that is completely different and it's not who or what I am right here right now. um and when we think about the impressions that we have on people and the impressions that people make on us, um and we consider social media as like how influential that can be, um social media can be really polished for some people. It's the photo you take down because you don't look great, or you untag yourself in it because you're like, man, I don't look too hot in that one. Um, it's the private photo or the screenshot that gets posted on a wall or whatever the case may be. The comment section underneath your photo. all of those things are part of our impressions management. Um, and because all of these things are part of our impressions management, we associate them with our identity. We associate them with this is the person that I am. So obviously, we want to at all times be the best version of ourselves, be the best version that we can be, and be the version of ourselves that is most well liked by the people we interact with on a day to day basis. Because we like being liked. It's human nature. So we have all these things going for us, and we're talking about impressions management. I want to go back to your questions because you've got a question on here about your project. So for your project, what impression does your media text give to viewers? So I want you to think about new audiences, first time audiences, new viewers. If I were to approach your media text with no kind of background or cultural context, and no kind of relationship with your content, what kind of impression would I get from your media text? You know, what kind of message is your media text sending to unfamiliar audiences? Is this how they engage them? Is this how they dismiss certain types of people because they don't care about their opinion? Um, Whatever the case may be. So that's what I want you to look at. This has been impressions management. The chapter is pretty straightforward, very simple. We are hitting a very much downward momentum on the semester here, folks, going into the second half of this last unit. So these chapters, as we move forward, are a page or two long. The notes are very straightforward. It's pretty simplistic. Um, and we're just going to kind of wrap things up. All right. So this has been chapter 45. I will talk to you again for chapter 46.